Hello and welcome, thought leaders. Thank you for being on here tonight. Welcome to the first episode of Ask Dr. Zaino Live. And this is going to be awesome. It's going to be highly valuable. Let me go ahead and start off with saying there is a live chat role below this video. We're going to be pulling questions from that chat role as well as questions that were emailed in for us. You'll also see all of our social media sites and links below this video. Like us on Facebook, share it with, you can even, there's a link there, you can even tweet this out as we're live, and just see all the things that we're doing. If you haven't been to chirothoughtleaders.com and entered your name and email and got on our list yet, please do that. We have some really, really exciting things coming up in the really near future. And so just a brief explanation of what we're doing here tonight. You know, we've had a lot of success helping people over the last few years here at Chiro Thought Leaders, and we've been really getting a lot of questions lately on different programs, on how to market practice. They've questions really all across the board, and they're coming in basically every day. I'm answering some, Dr. Zaino's answering a lot of different questions, and so we thought, you know what, if there's so many people with so many different questions, why don't we do a live call where you could actually ask these questions. The questions can be recorded, and you can even watch the replay to this video and be able to go back and listen to those answers again and again. So I thought it was a brilliant idea, and we set this up. We're going to be doing this Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. We'll be here every Wednesday, and we'd love for you to be here as well. Dr. Zaino, are you with us here?
Yeah, you hear me, Tabor?
Yep, awesome. We can hear you loud and clear. I'm going to go ahead, and so we have a lot of people on the line already. I'm going to go ahead and dive into our first question, and I think we should take it here below in the live chat here. I got a question for you, Dr. Zaino. Eric says, what is the best way to tell the patient that they have to bring their spouse to the report? He says, I've had a few patients that say they didn't want to bring their spouse or that their spouse was too busy. He says, I know that's bull, but what are the steps to take the patient through so they understand the value of actually having them at the report?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think you're starting off right. You know, it's your mindset is that, yeah, they have to be here, and that starts it all. And then when you're doing your day one, you'll say, and you say, okay, we're going to set you up for your doctor's report where your spouse will be required to come, because you're going to be going over the cause of your condition, how long it's been there, the necessary steps in order to correct the condition, all financial costs and all home therapy instructions. And for those reasons, your spouse needs to be there. It is required. So again, it says, so because we're going to go over the cause of your condition. I said this, we're going to go over the cause of your condition, how it's affecting your life and their life, what it's going to take to, what it's going to take to correct that problem, what it's going to take to accept you as a patient, all financial costs and home care instructions. And for those reasons, your spouse is required to come as well. And I do that. And also, I'm pre-framing that when I do the dynamic dinners. So the dynamic dinners, when they're making their appointment, I explain the first appointment, I explain the second appointment in a group, right? With the dinner, saying your spouse will be required to come. And I go, and I even go like this. I do like the second person. I'm like, someone's asking, well, why does my spouse have to come? I'm like, well, first of all, I go, if you had cancer, would your spouse want to know? And everybody's like, yes. I go, so if there's a subluxation, I go to the chart, choking off life to the heart, choking off life to the, or any one of these organs, do you think your spouse would like to know? And they're like, yeah, of course. I'm like, oh, and for me, I'm like, and that's exactly why they need to be there. And if I feel any other resistance, I could always tell the story of, when I was sick back in the day, the doctors always had my wife to be there. MD Anderson here in Houston, Texas, when you have cancer, your spouse is to be there. Not only are they required to be there, but they want to be there. So I just take that same approach. If they are bucking in the room, they're like, oh, I don't know their schedule. We don't even take the x-rays at that point. So it's very important for us in our office. We make sure they are scheduled for their doctor's report or their masterpiece report along with their spouse. Well, I don't know their schedule. Dr. Ryan or Dr. Jacques will be like, call them. So they'll leave the room, have them call them to make sure they nail down a thing. I know Dr. Ernie Landy, sometimes if spouse was still resisting, he would say, hey, do you mind if I call your spouse? And Dr. Ernie's a very soft-spoken, wonderful guy. And he used to say, hey, and he would say, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I really need you to be here, to the spouse. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll be there. Yeah. So you take it and listen. If they cannot get the spouse, then in my office, Dr. Reiner, Dr. Jacques, they will politely and nicely walk them up to the front in a nice way. It has to be all with emotional intelligence. Say, listen, if you don't know when your spouse could be here, I want to make sure these x-rays are taken at the right time, or the exams, because it could be 3 weeks from now, right? So we walk them up politely, say, listen, these are the days of our doctor's reports, Tuesday and Thursday this week. Come a half hour earlier, we'll take your pictures, and then if your spouse is with you, and then you'll sit through the doctor's report. So that is one thing in our office, that if they're going to buck on the spouse, we know they're not going to sign up either. The one out of 20 do, and that one doesn't even last because if money gets tight or anything like that, or whatever reason, and that spouse has not supported them, they're going to have them quick chiropractic. So I think your mindset's right, but you just have to be pretty stern with it. Plus, I have it, when someone leaves the day one, we have a what to expect, that they initial.
Yes.
It's going to be a 2-hour event. It's going to be, bring your spouse. Da, da, da. So they sign that. We go over that 3 different times. So we make sure we cover it. It is okay, and it will happen that people refuse to bring their spouse, and in our office, that's not going to work. You could choose to, and they might sign up, Oh, here's another one. When my spouse absolutely, positively cannot come, we're in Texas. There's a lot of oil. They're working a lot of oil. And they're in Afghanistan for a month. And then be 100% transparent. Dr. Reiner, Dr. Jacques they would tell them, okay, well, can you, watch this, here's the line. Can you make a several $1,000 decision on your own without having to speak to your spouse? Right? That's what it is. My care plan's between $400 and $5,500. So be honest, can you make a several $1,000 decision on your own without having to talk to your spouse when it comes to your health?
Good.
They say yes. Once, and they'll both say, no, I got to speak to my spouse on that amount. But if the one in the blue moon that says yes, well, guess what happens? Come time, they say, well, I got to speak to my spouse. So we want to make sure we leave that objection out, so you don't have to go through that. So there's different ways you could go through it, but spouse absolutely has to be at the DR. And if not, it's part of the process. That was a person that just wasn't fit.
Yeah.
Hope that helps.
Absolutely. That's spot on. And I think it's important that chiropractors know that that's not just for chiropractic. Like, I was listening to a sales training from Tony Robbins, and he was doing just for businesses. And he said, you'd never give the presentation, much less the financials, without everybody who makes the decision in the room. He said, you're just wasting your time, and you're wasting theirs. So it's not just a chiropractic thing. That's just business in general.
Yeah, Tabor, absolutely right. Tabor's 100% on that, because how about this? I've had it where I got to speak to my fiance. So I think you should use the frame, I need your spouse or your significant other, because they could have a fiance that they live with, or they could have, there could be other arrangements, if they have a male, if a guy has a male partner, a woman has a female partner, they don't really say spouse. So you want to make sure that you say a spouse or significant other.
Right.
Absolutely. And for how about this, Tabor? What do you do when a person's between the ages of 19 and 25? This is kind of like the rule we made up. Between 19 and 25, I still ask them if they need a parent to make that decision, because a lot of times you might have independent 20 or 21-year-olds or 22. Right. Most likely they have a parent that they need to talk to. So we also address that. Hey, listen, do you need your parents to help with financial decisions?
Right.
Say, yes, or absolutely not. So I would also look at their age, and between that 19 to 24, I would even ask them if they could bring their parent, and if their parent plays any role in any type of financial decisions in their life.
Right on. Awesome. Well, we'll move forward. This 30 minutes is going to fly by.
We'll go a little longer this time, maybe 40.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to go to one who had emailed us before. Anthony says, I have patients that they do feel like their health, they understand that their health is their most important asset. However, bills, money struggles, finances get in the way, and it stops them from committing. What am I missing when someone says, I don't have the money excuse, or I can't continue to go, or I can't prepay because of the money?
Right on. You're not missing anything. What they're failing to miss is, watch this, future pacing. See, there is a formula for failure. And the formula for failure is that people think what they do today or their actions today don't matter. Meaning that when something happens, when someone has a, and what we're talking about on this thing, this is why tell your friends to hop on this show. It's not just, it's for everything. Every catastrophic event in your life that ends up, remember, it could be health, we'll say health crisis, financial crisis. It's really an end result of many failures, many failure decisions of the way they think, thinking errors, or poor judgments that they made every single day for months, weeks, or years. And then the catastrophic event hits, and they think something happened. Then no, it was a result of the way they thought health was, or not doing things. So it's because they didn't think getting adjustment matters. They didn't know to get adjustment. They would eat crappy because why we all do it. We all could smoke a cigarette right now and we'll be alive tomorrow. And we think, well, hey, I smoked a cigarette, I ate some shit, I'm fine. I'm fine tomorrow. So it really didn't matter. I didn't die today. Versus if I did smoke and I coughed up blood immediately, then we wouldn't do it, right? We would have habits to make sure that doesn't happen again. So first of all, they think certain things don't matter and they got away with it. Number two, but the formula for success is if they could take those thinking errors, that's where we're at as thought leaders, and we take these thinking errors and show them what health really is, then they have to take the errors they made every single day and turn them into habits, getting adjusted, doing the home rehab, eating better. But now those new habits every day, they compile up to health. But the biggest product of failure is neglect, because they neglected a problem for so long. This is why they're in their state. And that gets me to this. So what we're failing to do, if you hear that a lot, you're failing to future pace and show them the future. If we all sit here and really foreseeing the future, like 5 years from now, in 5 years, these are my goals. And what am I doing right now, and what I did yesterday and tomorrow, is that leading me towards my goals? So if I want health, or like this, so right now, it's this much money, and because they're so focused with now and yesterday. People are so, not in the moment, but they're so distracted. They're just about today and yesterday and maybe tomorrow, that they make improper decisions. They don't think about the future. So they're not going to get your care, because right now they have to pay the money now, but they're not future facing, saying, if I don't correct that problem, if I neglect that problem, well, maybe these adjustments don't matter. If I neglect these things, it's gonna cost me a hell of a lot more than I'm paying now in money, in relationships, and all those other things. So they have to see the future. If we all think about the future, we'll make better decisions. Why would someone cheat on their spouse? Because in the moment, right, they're cheating on their spouse, and it's right now, they're reacting, because that's what that patient's doing. They're reacting to something. But saying, if they step back and say, listen, if I cheat on my spouse, if a guy cheats with another woman, if you thought about, well, it's going to devastate his wife, she'll have no trust for me, it'll ruin her life for the future. Financially, he'll lose at least half his money. Then his kids, they will be part of now a divorced family. All holidays, all birthdays will be with different families. I mean, like, if you sat there and planned out the devastation of an act such as cheating or something like that, no one would do it, right? No one would do it. It'd be like, that's freaking insane. Why would I put myself through that pain? So I think what chiropractors, what we're really good at personally, is we get to see, well, if there's a subluxation and this happens, we're able to see the future of exactly what happens if it's still neglected. So it's painting the picture, sitting that person down and showing them, well, this is the way you're thinking, stopping this, neglecting that problem. And we're showing them, here's this problem. So what are you going to gain from neglecting that? They have to see what happens, what's going to transpire in their entire life. The goals they write down, we have them write down goals. Like, these goals now are not being met anymore. So if they could see the future, then they'll be able to make proper decisions right now. So that's why you ask those questions. What happens if you don't correct this? What happens to the goals? What happens in, finances? Is it going to cost more now or more later? So in your reports, in your masterpiece, you're future pacing your example stories, or future pace that person. And what do you think, Tim?
No, I think you're spot on there. Got a little bit of echo. I don't know if you can hear me.
I mean, because it pisses us off. Like, the fact that it's like, well, wait a second. You answered every question correctly. You told me if that was you, you're going to fix it.
Yep.
No, if that was your kid, no, I would take care of it. But like, I tell them this, I'm like, so if you go back there and you give me some excuse, like you don't have the time, you don't have the money, you're too busy, and you walk out of here,
Yep.
who are you really harming? And they say, ourselves, right? So they tell me everything because it makes sense here, but emotionally they're reacting to money, or they're reacting to time. Oh, I don't have, because they're worried about now, but they're not able to sit back and really see a month from now, 2 months from now.
Right.
And that's our job, is to really kind of show them that.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times that excuse that they're using is something that you could use as a reason they need your care. So if they say, I don't have the money to pay for this, you could say that's exactly why you need to correct this now, because if this gets worse, how much do you think it's going to cost for you to correct it next year, right? Those types of things. So you could actually take the main reason why they can't do it and turn that into a reason they can, and then help them figure out if that really is their major objection, help them figure out, how can we get past that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go for the next question down here below our video again. Freddie says, thanks for doing this, Chris and Tabor. You guys are chiropractic warriors. Awesome. Thank you so much. I have the dynamic dinner program. How much do you recommend for hourly wage base and or bonus for CAs making calls for dynamic dinner?
So my team, they get their whatever their hourly wages now. I don't know what you pay, but the same thing you would pay them hourly.
Yeah.
Bonuses, I would set a bonus like if there's more than 40 people, they get $50. If 40 people or $50 to $100 that show up, right? So if you turn that corner, there's 40 plus people. All right, you got 50. Everybody who was part of that, I would give them $50 to $100, and that's a lot. I mean, that's a good bonus, because the thing is, I'm paying you to fill a dinner. So the fact that if it's 40, or it should be over 40, but the fact that you do it, thank you. Here's a little bonus to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And then they feel good about it. They know they had a success, and then hopefully you'll have more of those in the future. Let's see. He actually asked another question. He says, if I understand your care plans, or help me understand your care plans, why do you use a 6-month 60 visit care plan versus a 12-month 80 to 100 visit care plan, etc.?
And Tabor, are you on 36 still? Did you go?
Yes. Yeah. So our initial is 36 visits.
Okay. So actually, I would rather like Tabor's care plan over my 60. I do 60 because I know that gives me enough juice and time to get some shit going. Things happening. My main goal is I want to get them to lifetime care as quick as possible. That's why Tabor you have 12, and we say get rid of the freaking 12, because he was like, maybe that could be an option. I'm like, 36, and at 36, that's the corrective care, and then after that, your option is lifetime care, or
that's it.
Not that you're not a patient, just it's lifetime care, because we want to build a culture of lifetime patients as quick as possible for a couple of reasons. What's that mean? They're lifetimers, right? So they develop the culture, and I mean, it's just great. So I want to get them to a lifetime patient as quick as possible versus the year, because I noticed after the 6-month mark, if there's not this new thing, that's the black hole. That's when people start coming off. They start getting distracted. It's making it to 60 visits. That shows a lot. Usually, when someone makes it to that point, they're going to be a lifetimer. And then in between, then you have people falling off, or like that first question. All of a sudden, they start feeling better, right? So they start feeling better, and then they don't think they need it anymore. And then you have all this crap that we all deal with, just losing focus. But I think Tabor's is great. 36 visits, and then boom, because the goal is lifetime care. You got to wait a year. I'd rather get them on lifetime care, because also, watch this. Let's say they paid $3,500 for the 1 year of care, right? But now let's say you go to 6 months, and then they paid, let's say you said $3,500 for 6 months, the 6 months worth of care, and at 6 months they start lifetime. So at the end of the year, technically, it would be more income, right? So you could do that way. But I mean, there's all types of reasons why, but my main reason is always I want them to be a lifetime patient as quick as possible, because then that's when the transformation really starts happening, that they adopt the culture, and we have a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, your lifetime care program, absolutely genius. makes your practice valuable. It makes your practice, your equity and your value of your practice just continues to grow the longer you practice. I mean, it's absolutely genius. And since, you know, we were doing a 36 visit corrective care plan, or you had the option of choosing 12, because in my mind, I was like, well, some people just want to try it, right? But like you told me, you know, if you have an option of 12 or 36, no matter what you need, what are you going to pick? You know, everybody was picking the 12. So we do the 36 visits 3 times a week for 3 months, corrective care plan, re-x-ray, and then move them right into your lifetime care that you said, and it works really well. So let's go ahead and I'll ask a question from an email here. It says, how do you keep patients motivated to be in the clinic? And I guess this goes right along with that question we just asked. When they've been there for three or four workshops, they've been under chiropractic for 2 or 3 years. These patients know the importance of chiropractic care. They've seen great results, but they just think that there's monotony in coming in weekly or monthly and all these types of things. How do you motivate these types of patients to get their headspace back into the clinic and keep it there?
Well, that's just it, you know, making the workshops. So we want them to go to the workshops because a workshop would be kind of like what we're doing tonight. See how we could talk about things that are really not they don't fit into table talk. They don't fit into a masterpiece report of findings. They don't fit into a dinner. It's like, but it's conversations that we need to address, but they don't fit until usually someone's trying to quit, right? So in your workshops, you could address all this stuff. So you make sure they get to the workshops. Okay, so how do we make sure they get to workshops? I pay them, meaning that if they attend a workshop, we keep track, they get a discount on their lifetime plan. So I think if they make 6 workshops a year or more, they get 10% off that year of wellness, which is a lot of money. It's a good amount of money if they buy the workshop. So I did a workshop last night. It's $30 if they didn't make it there. When they get it, the more workshops they either buy or attend, they save 10%. And I tell them the incentive behind that is the more you go to, the more you'll be more engaged you'll be more focused on your health, and you'll make better results. That's one thing. The handouts are super important. Make sure they're doing the handouts. I do have videos playing when they're waiting, and all my videos are me educating them, me telling them. Our review x-rays, we're refocusing them. That's every every couple months, every 36 visits and 60 visits. And the dinners, remember, patients could go to dinners. So we highly recommend. We just started having dinners, not at Macaroni Grill anymore, but at a Brazilian steakhouse like Fogo de Chao. And, it's a new place. It's exciting. So now we're, getting our current patients to bring a guest, and they get to hear the message again. The dynamic dinner is really a good half. It's the most effective to really get someone excited again. And so it's always in there. It's all part of it. And plus, it's as simple as when someone walks in and I know your name without having to scan you on Genesis, that means a lot to someone. Like when Trisha, she's like, wow, I can't believe you remember my name. I'm like, of course I do. So, it's almost like you care, you're caring. You can do all those things I just told you, but if you just care and they sense that you care, like the other day I said, hey, listen, I appreciate you. It was good seeing you. And the patient looked at me, he's like, he goes, and I know you mean that. And that meant a lot to me because he really, so that there, Alan, who that's my patient. So him knowing that I'm sincere and really mean it, it doesn't matter what the hell he goes to. Plus, we have our VIP, we have the big dinners, so our big parties, our PAD. So we have a lot of fun things going on. But I think as simple as a sincere, I appreciate you, or just you being yourself and sharing, I think that's why people will continue to come back, because they know you're real,
Absolutely. Awesome. Here's a question. I think this will be a popular question. Anybody who's been to the Zaino experience knows the answer, but so Bruce asks, how does Dr. Zaino chart and see as many patients as he does currently? Could he walk us through a typical visit at his office?
Right. I'd say they come on in, and they pick up, they come in, they scan in. I got Genesis, beep, they scan in, they check in. Then they pick up a number, whatever number that is. Then they walk around to the desk, and we have a subjective sheet they fill out. So it is subjective, meaning that, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's going on, their name, the date, everything like that. Then below the subjective thing, there's just kind of the adjustments. And on the bottom, if I ever need notes, I have the sheet. So I want them to write it down. I want them to say I'm a 3 out of 10 and with their signature. That's important for me because anytime someone wants records, instead of me having computer records sent to them, I got a sheet with their name and signature, whether they're trying to pull something or it's real, it's their signature. Okay, so they do that. Then they come and they wobble. So they're wobbling when they're waiting for their number. They're watching the videos and stuff on there. It's time to go. They come up, they hang their number. They get on one of the 3 tables. They scan. So Genesis, when they scan, it pops up their travel card, and we have all the listings from the most current pictures on there. They go face down. All the stuff's on the counter. So they're told scan face down. I come around. I adjust them. 25 seconds to 40 seconds. And then they get up and they walk over to the rehab area. In the rehab area, they're either doing extension traction, they're doing standing on the vibe plate with head weights, shoulder weights, hip weights, whatever weighting system they got from the rehab that we decided from their radiographs, and then they're done. So their rehab they're probably doing for 5 minutes, and they're out the door. If they need a picture or an X-ray at the time, it's a re-X-ray. Everything's non-verbal. They get a card. They go through everything, they do their rehab, and they know to go to the back, and they have a seat over there, and the X-ray tech will come around and get them. So it's a 10-minute procedure. Leave the car running.
And it works perfectly. And my office layout's a little bit different than DrZaino's, but I tried to set this flow up where it does the same thing. And 99% of my patients actually tell me, thank you, Dr. Tabor, for making it easy for me to get in and get my adjustment and get on my way. They'll say, I've been to chiropractors where I had to, do all this stuff, lay on the table, get heat and shock and all these things. And I just don't have time. They have busy lives and busy schedules, and they appreciate the fact that we can actually get them in less than 20 minutes,
I mean, you can still do modalities. If you're doing modalities, do whatever you
sure.
want. It just,
I don't mean to down that. Yeah.
I mean, I know Dr. Taylor, what he means is that's how we kind of do it in our office. And it's fun, just.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes all kinds. So, so let's ask another question here. Actually, I want to go below the videos. Eric Neptune has a great question here. Naputi, sorry. Yes, Eric Naputi. Great question. Kristen Taylor, what do you feel is the #1 key to high retention and conversion to lifetime wellness patients?
Well, it was just like how we talked. Number one, the guy who just answered the question is a crazy powerhouse. Like Eric's, yeah, he's
yep.
I mean, if anybody should know the answer, it's him. Eric, I personally feel, and you see thousands of people. It's like when Eric is Eric and he shakes that hand or gives them that look and appreciates them, they stay there. And they make it to your workshops there. I mean, I think Dr. Eric has a radio show, right? He's big on radio, right? But yeah, I mean, just engagement. Culture requires engagement. I know Dr. Tabor at the Chiro Thought Leader Seminar, he's going to talk about building your tribe. I mean, it really is. You're building a culture tribe. You're the thought leader, the Pied Piper. Yeah. And, it's just that. It's sincerity, get them to your workshops. Getting referring and bringing friends and family in events where they can bring friends and family, because if they're bringing somebody in, that means they're kind of you're training, you're leading people towards fulfilled lives for the optimal. You're leading people towards fulfilled lives for the God-given principles and laws of healthy living through the vehicle of chiropractic care, and equipping them with the necessary tools to go out and help others. Yeah. And I would say that would be the #1 thing to retention. And results is not the #1 reason for retention at all. Because we know plenty of people who get well and they leave, right? So that's not it. And I have plenty of lifetimers that still, they're still in pain, or it's beyond results. It's, they just want a leader. They want someone who's sincere and real, and they just want to feel cared for, sincerely cared for. And Dr. Eric definitely does that, 100%.
I agree, and I think probably the best chiropractors in the world are probably on this webinar right now, because just like Tony Robbins says, he says usually the best are the ones that are going to different trainings and on there, because they're the ones that are always wanting to get better. So it doesn't surprise me. I have another question here from Kyle. Okay, Dr. Zaino, As a new doc, I'm debating cash versus insurance. I like the way you're able to give discounts for things like introducing other family members and going to workshops. Are you able to give discounts like that while being under insurance? As someone who has done both, what would you recommend for a new doc in a new office?
Yeah, I would start off cash right off the bat. I did do that with insurance, but the reason why I stopped insurance because I was, watch this, I was taking insurance, but I was practicing like I was cash and kind of doing whatever I wanted to do. And it was funny because I was justifying doing whatever I wanted to do by saying, well, I'm here to save people's lives, but I was taking insurance and knowing that, but insurance companies just don't work that way. So, I mean, I was definitely putting myself in trouble. And that's why I remember one day I'm like, well, there's no way I would, an insurance company wants to audit me for how much money. And I did everything legit. There was no fraud or anything at all. But I realized they could totally come back and ask for $100,000. And I can't say, well, I'm more important to helping people. They'd be like, well, that's great, but we need $100,000 back.
Right.
So I realized that, listen, we're out of this insurance game. And you can practice freedom, even cash. There's some guys out there, they're like, oh, you can't do this. And if they're this and that. And I understand there's probably still a gray area I'm at, but I'm willing to take that hit, so I mean, because insurance companies, they really come after you for money. But like if I'm going to get fined by the board or by Medicaid for taking care of an elderly person or something like that, and there's people committing fraud and doing some crazy stuff, and so I'm sure I have some gray areas, but I would definitely go cash and start off with cash because then you start off your game and you can really practice chiropractic the right way. And I know the temptation,
I don't know if maybe it's harder if you're in network with all the insurance to switch over to cash, but I've never been all in network, but we used to accept out of network insurance in our office. And when I switched to doing, what I would call all cash or using super bills for my patients, there really wasn't there wasn't a headache at all. I mean, it really wasn't any harder to just say, you may be refunded, we'll get you a super bill at the end of your care, than to say, here's your out of network insurance. Still, people were leaving when we told them we were out of network, and it really was no harder just to tell them that we're doing super bills. So,
yeah.
Okay, so here's a simple question for you. How much does Dr. Zaino charge for a maintenance plan of one time per week? That would be your wellness, your lifetime wellness, right?
$150 a month. $150 a month. That's what rehab.
Yep.
And if they don't do rehab, it's less than that. And then we do have a plan that is, we call it's off the paper. Let's say you have the one time a week person and they're trying to quit. I think that might have been a quick, and they're really just trying to quit, and it really is truly financial. Then we would switch them to 26. But if they're not a lifetimer, meaning they don't get the perks of a lifetime. I mean that if you're on a 26 plan, you're coming, twice a month. Like a VIP, they could come in 2 or 3 or 4 times if they wanted to. But if they're 26, when that 26 is up, they're renewing on 26. So that's not even, that's off the books, but that's the, the last, to keep their foot in the door. Because I know even at, so I don't know how anybody gets adjusted twice a month, but just to keep their foot in the door so they could hear one thing of the principle to save their life. Like I need that, like if they're weekly attached to the power source, see your office as a power source when it comes to health and life. And just think the further they're out of that office, they will. You go in the lion's den, you're going to get eat eventually. So outside your office, it's everything pulling them away from truth. And just, you want to get them inside the office just to be connected in some way, shape, or form. And we have some patients that have to go 26 for a while and they go back to the lifetime. So lifetime is 150. That's what rehab. Without it, it's going to be a little bit less.
Right.
And next year it goes up 3%. So every year it goes up 3%. So if their lifetimer is tomorrow, like today, we had someone, whatever the price was now, that's the way it's going to be for the rest of their life. So next year when it goes up 3%, that person's going to be at that for the rest of their life. It doesn't go up.
Right on. And that's what mine is basically is my once a week lifetime is 140 a month. And we do have a biweekly plan, like you said, for people that are sliding off. I don't even know how much it is because we don't really offer it that much. I think it's like $85 a month or something like that. All right, so let's go ahead. Actually, we have a question right below the video here. All right, Dr. Zaino, what would you suggest as a supplement to stop breaking down muscle as you get older, as I am doing weights, but I'm not able to put on muscle like I used to?
It goes down to your diet, like what you're eating, and making sure protein's in. Like, so the weights are, the exercise is going to break down muscle. It's going to cause inflammation, and that's going to signal protein synthesis in the body to grow. And it's also going to, signal your hormones to go. So, let's start. Oh, it's always food. There's no supplement. You just, you make sure you get adequate enough of clean protein, all good organic grass-fed, protein and meats. And I would definitely, for a male, I would definitely, as the age, I totally tell them to make sure their fat intake is high enough. So you probably need some increased saturated fats and healthy fats. The saturated fats and cholesterol, that's the skeleton of testosterone and hormones. So a lot of times when you start boosting, throwing egg yolks in there, throwing some good grass-fed beef in there, getting that saturated fat from that, that's when you start to see things really climb up. Definitely have 10 grams of fish oil per day. So that's a tablespoon. That's actually 14 grams of fat in 1 tablespoon of fish oil. So I would do 1 tablespoon of fish oil. I would get your coconut oils in there, some fat from meat, and some egg yolks in there, and you'll definitely see a change in the hormones. I mean, your hormones are going to drop as you age, but you definitely, I mean, the guy who got second place on Mr. Olympia was like 46, 47 years old. I don't care if he's on steroids or not. It's like this guy's, it's like 40 to 50 now. You're still putting on muscle. At around 50, then things start, leveling off, but you can still maintain it. There's no, but I would definitely, it's diet and increasing healthy. The fat's going to be the most important.
Awesome. And I got to do the videos when we were shooting the nutrition videos, and Dr. Zaino eats a ton of fat every day. And so that saying that fat makes you fat, that's definitely not true. Okay, so this question below here actually goes along with kind of what we were just talking about. So if they're lifetime, if they're on if they're lifetimers or they're on the lifetime wellness package, are they on a contract? What are the requirements to be a lifetimer?
So, well, they're on like an automatic EFT.
Yeah.
So we're debiting that. The contract is, that they make it at least 4 times. Yeah, it's 4 times a month minimum.
Right.
And we give them a new keychain. I actually give them a little thing. They get bonus, like, so when you're a lifetime, you have all these perks. So they get to the VIP dinner. If they refer someone in, it's $40, not $150. They get percentage off all supplements in the office if they want to buy any. At our workshops, they get front, prime seating in the front row or the second, third. We added all these like little bonuses and benefits, but it's just like your other care. This is what you come in. So we don't recall people. We don't harp on them. But I wouldn't say there's a contract. It's just that every year at this date, it's rolling over. So we know when their credit card's about to expire or something happens. That's the only time we need to talk to them. But other than that, it just rolls over. It keeps on rolling over.
Right.
Oh, I love me say, so, and also it's we're a month ahead. And if they do want to quit, you just let us know. We stop it. There's no penalties. It just you stop.
Yes, and that's what I was going to reiterate is, we might even use the same paperwork that you do, but it's basically there's no, like, you don't have to sign a year contract. It's not like a cell phone bill. It's like just give us 30 days notice. We'll stop your credit card. But the deal is, it's almost like a membership, like a gym membership. Is this is just going to charge every month, and we're just going to expect you to make your visit once a week in the office, and people love that. And just to be clear, we had another question about the 36 versus the 60 visit plans. Those are corrective care. So in my office, in Dr. Zaino's office, corrective care is first, and then lifetime wellness care. So they're always presented with that corrective care package, which would be your 36 visit corrective care, your 3 times a week, or your 60 visit care plan 3 times a week. At the end of that, when they do get their re-X-rays, then they're presented with the lifetime wellness plan. Am I correct, Dr. Zaino?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Awesome.
So it's your initial phase is the bigger one. and then intensive phase, and then your wellness, maintenance, stabilization. That would be your lifetime.
Right. Um, and then does that mean they can come in more than once a week with the same cost, like 140 per month? And
Oh,
yes,
so like, right. So could they, so if someone has a reverse curve, a kyphotic curve in their neck, and it's like, you don't want to maintain that, then yeah, we tell them if I still think they need 3 times a week, then they
right.
can 3 times a week. So I have my exceptions, and that's purely at your discretion.
Right. And that's what I try to word it as. You get a once a week package, but if I say I need you to come in more, then you can come in more, and I'm not going to charge you for that. So
Yeah, I
um,
think I'm with it.
it almost works as like an insurance package, because sometimes people have injuries, sometimes they have flare-ups, sometimes they need to, and if they feel like they're part of your office, they're a member in your office, you take care of them whenever they have a problem, and they appreciate that. Okay, so let me go back up to one that we missed here. Let's see. George says, what adjusting techniques are you using, and do all your associates adjust the same as you?
So we do CBP protocols, Pettibon protocols, diversified Thompson
Mhm.
mix. So
Right.
we have the activator and arthro over there for different people in different situations. But I basically I use the drops. I still and diversified and that and CBP type like setups and some Pettibon lifts in rehab. So we do manual. Dr. Jacques and Dr. Ryan, yeah, they know how to do it. But look, you got Dr. Jacques is really tall. He's like 6'2". I'm short. Dr. Ryan's right in the middle. He's probably 5'10". And so there's certain moves I could do. Like I could do combination movements all day long. Down, boom, boom, boom. Side postures are tough for me because, they're talking about Dr. Jacques could get on there and he's coming from down. So we have the listings. All on Genesis, we have the travel card with the listings. As long as we get that listing. So someone would be like, well, Dr. Ryan does it this way, and Dr. Zaino, you do it this way. And it's like, well, as long as we get the listing. So I might adjust a person seated, for the Atlas. Someone might adjust them face down for the Atlas, face up for the Atlas. So as long as we get it, whatever's comfortable for the doctor to get that job done. Like now anteriors are really bugging me. Like when I come down, my ribs are getting hit, and so it's throwing my ribs off in the back. So, so the hugs, as people call them, I'm doing, P to A now for the thoracics because the anteriors it's just getting too much for me now. It's, my thumbs, I don't know if you can see this, see this thumb here. See, it doesn't bend back like this one because this thumb, if you feel the joint on this side, it's so hypertrophy from Wolf's Law. Like, I got like Richard. I mean, it's crazy. So that's from all that adjusting. So I modify some of my adjustments because of 10 years of volume. It's going to do it to you. But thank God I don't have blown disc or anything like that. So yes, they adjust. They rock the house. They do great.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's great advice. And me having the experience of being an associate in a big practice, I don't know, some people might know Dr. Shane Hand, but I practiced for him, and I really got a lot and learned a lot about being an associate there. And we would train. So the doctors, we want to adjust similarly because we don't want patients are going to say things anyway because every chiropractor has their own art. But we used to train at Dr. Shane's where we would have the CAs lay face down on the tables, outside of adjusting hours, and they would lay face down, and then we would go behind one without them knowing who it is and adjust them, and then we'd have the CA try to guess who adjusted them, and we wanted them to get it wrong, because we wanted to adjust very similar to each other. But I feel like that helped. And even with Dr. Evan in my office, we train with each other trying to adjust very similarly, and you still have patients that are going to say he does this different or that different. But at least, like you said, we're correcting the spine. We're doing similar listings, and we're correcting subluxations. That's the main thing.
Oh, and tip right on the head. Like, so when they do say, well, so and so, Dr. Zaino did it like this, we want to make sure that it's the principal, not the doctor. Say, listen,
Right.
we're removing the interference. Because remember when I, everybody wanted me, and then when I started bringing associates in, it's that people only come when I'm there, but they have to realize that's why I wouldn't leave the office. I felt like I had to be there, right? So when I started taking shifts off, they just that was the way to do it. It's just, I used to say I was gone when I was leaving so people would know. But then I was like, you know what? It's the adjustment's the adjustment. And, the
Yeah.
principle's the principle. I don't want the accountability or the responsibility of being the savior or the healer in
Right.
that person's eyes. I want them to see that their body's doing the healing, and that when people, I say, listen, that doctor, they adjust me. Like, I don't adjust myself. So I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm strong because the docs I have in my office, and they're both great. It just whoever's closest to me adjusts me basically when it comes to the doctors. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna wait. No, it's like, hey, check me out. Boom, I'm good to go. So I mean,
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, let's field one more.
What do you want to do? One more?
Yeah, let's go one more. Their questions are winding down on live. So the last one I think ties in, and it's a good one to end with. It says, as a doc to be, my focus is on starting a podcast that'll serve my community. But what impact has your adventures in social media played into the success of your practice? Any tips on getting started would be greatly appreciated. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're starting this program, is because there's so much in technology. You can get so much valuable information out to so many people. And I think as a doctor, especially if you're just getting into it, that's the name of the game, is you have to get in front of people. I mean, that's it. Whether it's lunch and learns, screenings, podcasts, or social media, just get yourself in front of as many people as possible. And even in Chiro Thought Leaders, we've branched out into getting it more into social media. I think that's probably the next big step that people are taking as far as getting information out. It used to be, it was cassette tapes and CDs and all those things, and now it's people don't even have a CD player anymore because everything's online. So I think you're doing great. I would be on everything. I would make sure that, just Google social media sites, and even social media sites that you've never heard of. Create a profile, put your address and your clinic name in there, because Google has robots that are going to search all of that stuff. And if your name and your clinic can pop up as many times as it possibly can in your zip code, then it's even better for you. So, but that's my 2 cents. What do you think, Dr. Zaino?
Sounds good to me. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing this. It used
Yeah.
to be, just think like 1 or 2 years ago, if we made a video and sent you an email video every 2 weeks, that was sufficient. But now on social media, there's people who hire camera people to follow them all day long.
Yeah.
And they make 40-minute, 30-minute shows of the whole entire day.
Right.
And they're pumping it out every other day or every day. It's insane. So I'm like, wow, this is people are up in the ante. Like, once a week, screw that. Well, I'll put out a show every single day. And it's the in between the questions and answers, and it really became a whole voyeur type thing. So I told Tabor, I'm like, crap, we want to be more engaged with you guys. So I figured, just like the show, live Wednesday, we'll do it no matter what, where we're traveling, and it's for you guys. So tell your colleagues, be on this program, sign up, subscribe, do all the things you got to do, and they don't even have to be chiropractors. So all students, all chiropractors, and anybody could ask questions. You have patients come on here and ask questions, and please, it's just not about chiropractic. It could be about anything that you feel I might have had experience with, or an issue that you're dealing with. So someone had a food question, and so like trust me, I've been through it all, and it doesn't just have to be chiro related. And any question you ask, there's hundreds of other people who have the same exact question, and so I find that a show like this is extremely beneficial. It's my coaching fee. People ask, so what's your coaching fee for the year? And I set it at $72,000. And the reason why I did it's like, that's a lot of freaking work to coach somebody. So, but I knew that was, I knew people wanted that, and so I was like, you know what? Well, we could do this program, and I think it could be equally effective because you guys are right there. It's a little bit of tweaking here and there, or seeing things from a different perspective. And you guys got it. So hopefully this is extremely beneficial for you. It will never get boring. It will always be, and then you could always watch these reruns. When we, like after we're done with this, it's officially now on YouTube where you can watch it as many times as you want.
Absolutely. So moving into our closing, let me encourage everyone to scroll down below this video. If you're watching from chirothoughtleaders.com/ask-dr-Zaino, and you'll see a list of our speakers. You'll see the bonuses and everything that we're giving for our first annual Cairo Thought Leaders Seminar that's going to be live here in Houston, Texas, February 26th and 27th. And we just would really love to meet you guys, to see you, to be able to hang out with you in person. It would mean a lot to us, and I really think you'd get a lot out of it. In fact, I know you'd get a lot out of it. The people, the speakers, the thought leaders that are going to be there, that they have, they've told us they're bringing everything and they're laying it all on the table at the seminar. So if you really want to take your game to the next level, your practice, your business, and your life, do everything you can to get to that seminar next month. Your thoughts, Chris, on the closing?
Oh yeah, it's great. So the great thing is, you've heard the interviews with the thought leaders, but when you're there live, it's the only equivalent I could say is you can watch a football game on TV and it's exciting, but when you're there, it's an entirely different energy. It's a different experience. So I mean, you have access to some amazing people that has transformed my lives and many of your lives as well. And it's when you put them all together, the chemistry and what comes about it is incredible. That's why the ticket prices are cheap for that reason. We didn't charge $1,000 a ticket. We lowered the price to what's like $299.
Yeah.
That's for doctors, students, and sponsor student. You go there, and I mean, and all the speakers are great. These are people that they're personally people that I've worked with and know and benefited my life, and they have to. It's a law. It's going to help you in some way, shape, or form, guaranteed. And you doing that, the experience of that, will definitely start you on a road to success that is much higher than you thought it could be.
Absolutely. And Dr. Zaino's right. We kept the price down, $299 for a doctor and even less for CA, spouse, and student. A discount is $99. And so let me just tell you guys, I know you have to pay for hotel, you have to pay for travel or airfare, but I guarantee you it will be worth your investment. I guarantee you will not only be bringing a huge return on your investment, but if you don't come, then you'll also be missing out on something that could be costing you a lot of money as well. So think about that. Scroll down below this video, get your tickets for you and your staff. We'd love to see you all and hang out with you, because during the seminar is going to be hugely valuable, but even after, we get to go and we get to hang out with you guys as well, which is going to be even more valuable, spending some personal time with you. So thanks again, everybody, for being on here live. We appreciate it. It was a great episode for number 1. I look forward to many, many more. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night.